Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Will Nucky. Welcome back to the channel. So today is part 2 of how to do TIG art. And today we are going to be covering how to clean your material, how to prep it, how to choose a design, how to get that scaled to the proper size, and how to transfer that to your material. So without further ado, let's get it. Another thing, PSA, it's heat index of 113 today, so I'm gonna do my best to keep the fans off. But as you can see, just sitting here, I'm already drenched in sweat. So we're gonna power through it, and worst case scenario, if I have to turn on the fans, I will just film it and then do an audio recording over. All right, y'all, so first things first, we're gonna cover the things that we need to get our piece etched out, okay? So we've got our material. You're gonna need some gloves. I recommend something that's thin and that slides easily, okay? You're gonna want some earplugs. And you think I'm playing about it being hot, that's like shrink wrap. So they don't wanna be in here either. You're gonna want some scissors. Some acetone. Microfiber towel. Some clear Scotch-Brite tape. Your Dremel and some painter's tape. Gonna go ahead and peel this film off here. Now this is only going to be on your brushed and mirrored stainless, okay? If you're just starting off and you're using standard mill, you don't have to worry about that. Now the reason you're gonna need acetone, see the residue, okay? We're gonna use that acetone to clear that right off. Woo! Hot some butt. I recommend doing it with rubber gloves, or if you're not, without gloves like I am. And then as soon as you're done, go wash your hands. You always want to make sure when you're cleaning your project, if you're doing brushed, that you're going with the grain. Okay, the reason it's called brushed is because it is brushed with grain lines on it. So they will run either vertically or horizontal. So in this case, these are running vertically. So every time I clean it for the duration of this project, I'm going with the grain. That way, if I do have something in here, it'll be a little bit less forgiving. Whereas if I were to go against the grain, it's gonna scratch the hell out of it and show up. You want to do it with as light of pressure as possible. If you find you're having to really scrub on it, you don't have enough acetone, okay? Keep it wet, put it on there liberally, and let the chemical do the work, not your elbows. Finish cleaning this up real quick, and then I will be right back after I wash my hands, and I'm going to show you the image that we're going to be selecting and how to scale that to size, and then we're going to transfer it onto here, and that's where the fun begins. Stay tuned. All right, y'all, so what I'm going to do now is show you one of the ways I find my images that I want to use for my TIG art. So one of the websites that I recommend would be Shutterstock. So we're going to type that in. And the image that I come up with, that I decided to use, is gonna be a skull variant. And you wanna make sure whenever you're searching for something that you put in vector after the end of whatever you're looking for. And I'm gonna show you why. So we're going with this image here. The main reason I chose this image, A, it's badass, and B, I really want to be able to show you the importance of layering, and this one is pretty in depth. So this is the one we're going with. I've already downloaded it, but what you'll do, right, is you can sign up for a subscription service, and it allows you access to all of these images, and you can get a standard license on them, and you don't have to worry about being copyrighted, okay? So, and what I love about this is, depending on your art project, right? Let's say it's 12 by 12, 10 by 8, 18 by 18, 48 by 48, it really doesn't matter, okay? That's the reason you put vector at the end of your image, whatever you're searching for in the search bar. Because once you find what you want, you can go here, click on scale to any size, and then you're going to go to custom. We're doing a 12 by 10 piece. I have a 1-inch frame. Half of that is going to be on the frame. So we really need to have an image that's about an inch smaller in diameter. Excuse me. We really need to have an image that's about an inch smaller in width and height than the overall. So if it's 12 by 10, for it to fit right, we need something that is 11 by 9. So I'm going to click here and go to custom size. Click on pixels, go down to inches. We are going to go 9 inches wide and 11 inches high. And then from there, that file is saved to that size, and you don't lose, any kind of image quality or anything like that when you're doing that. That's why I really like using Shutterstock. I know there's probably a lot of other programs out there, but this is, the quickest and easiest way I've found to find images that, you don't have to worry about copyright and you don't lose resolution. So once you do that, then you're going to go to download. Download it as a JPEG. And we're going to, the way I do it, I use Paint. Okay. We're going to open a new project. Go to downloads. And then from there, we're going to go click on file, go to print preview. Okay. And then you're going to go to page setup. Usually this will be set to fit to 1 by 1 pages, right? All you have to do is click on adjust to 100% of normal size, and that's going to set that to that vector that it was saved at. So that's preset at 11 by 9 inches. Click on OK. There's your first page. There's your second. There is our 11 by 9. That's how you get it to fit to scale. And then we're going to go to print. Make sure you put everything on grayscale, otherwise you are going to absolutely burn through ink. Print in grayscale. Apply. All right, so while that's printing off, I will be back with you guys shortly. I'm going to show you how to get this laid out on there, and then we're going to cover etching your design. All right, y'all. So I just couldn't take the heat. It's one of them things. So I had to turn the fans on. So we're just going to do a voiceover the rest of the way out, but it might help me better explain. So now that we've got everything printed out, you'll see I'm cutting everything down to where I have just enough excess material to tape it on. Okay, you want to make sure where the two pages join that you cut straight. That way your design will line up like you'll see here. Now fighting the fan like crazy. I have 4 fans going just trying to keep me cool, but we'll make it. So after I get these cut and trimmed down, we're going to be laying this out. We're going to be putting these two pieces together. It's critical to get them lined up just as perfect as you can, because, you know, especially the bigger the design you get, as it gets bigger, if you're off a 1/16 of an inch, your design's going to be off, and then you're constantly going to be chasing that. So the reason I suggested clear tape is so you can tape over your design on the top side. I used to tape on the underneath side, and I found that once I etched it, right, I would get tape inside of the etching marks, and it really screwed with my weld. So learn from my mistakes and don't do that. As you can see, the vector format that we used made for a perfect size to fit that piece. And man, I just cannot wait to do this piece. I've never done a mirror image. It'll be a great way for me to explain to y'all just exactly how important layering is and how to go about it. Now we're gonna take the painter's tape and get everything strapped down and secure. I would always recommend setting something on it, that way it doesn't move, and that way it pushes it down and keeps it flat. Last thing you want when you're going to etch is to have air underneath there, to where when you start etching it and that material starts breaking apart, you're going to be fighting your Dremel. Okay, so tuck the excess on the underneath side, and now we're ready to move forward. Now, my rule of thumb is when you're etching, you always want to start from the center out. Okay, you want to start from the center out and work from your smallest detail out. That way, nothing is disappearing on you until you're ready for it, right? So I'm going to start on the eyes and the nose, and I'm going to work my way out. As you can see here, I am making sure, so right now I'm doing the cheekbone area, okay? And you always want to move left to right. Your Dremel is rotating clockwise, okay? So if you move right to left, you're fighting the natural rotation of that Dremel. And what you're going to notice is, especially when you're trying to etch through paper, it's going to fight you and it's going to want to grab. And there is nothing worse than getting halfway through your project and it tears on you and gets away from you and it was all for nothing. Okay, so just remember, always left to right. That's why you'll see me rotating the piece as I'm going, is so I can position myself to where I'm constantly going left to right. It may seem a little mundane and not important, but take it from me, take the extra time to constantly reposition what you're doing and make the small movements instead of trying to make large movements. Now, as you get better and you get more comfortable, by all means, go ahead. So here I am. I've got the inside. See how that disappears there? What happened was I had done the inside area of the skull, okay? And then I was ready to outline it. And as soon as I got the outline done, it all popped away. That's why you've got to plan how you're doing this. All right, rolling into this here, I'm getting ready to start on the sword, and you'll see all of the interior detail on the sword, right? Well, you have to keep in mind that spacing is very important when doing art. You don't want it to become too cluttered, okay? So you'll see here, I choose to go another route, and I just create an outline of that sword, okay? Because if I didn't do that, it'd be hard to get that weld in there without it looking right. So what I'm gonna do there, I'm actually gonna weave the sword, okay? So just a little example of ways that you can change, and just you gotta constantly be thinking of your art and how you're gonna move forward and how you're gonna make it look as realistic and planned and not just cluttered and crammed together, because to me that's the difference in having a good project. And from here you're gonna see me moving forward, just methodically and carefully moving my way from the inside out. Okay, that's important. Always work from the inside out. I know I'm going to repeat myself a lot on some of this, but it's because it freaking matters. Okay, so always work from the inside out. So I'm moving out, finishing up the end of this sword, and you'll see as I'm coming to, from there I'm going to go to the hand. Okay, and there's going to be more interior detail that I'm going to omit, because on the hand, for example, if I were to etch out the bone structure inside the bone and then etch out the hand, I would be limited to outlining the hand and then having to run maybe a weld where the interior bone design is, okay? And then I would have to etch it to make it pop, if that makes sense. But by just etching that out, I can either weld the whole thing and put a weave on it, or I can etch it. So I can decide as I go, as I see the project develop, and I'm not working myself into a corner. It's just little things like that you learn from each piece you do. And keep in mind that as you start doing this and you go piece by piece, you're going to learn something from every project you do. You're going to learn what works for you. You're going to learn what doesn't. Everything that I'm telling you, it doesn't mean it's the only way. My best advice would be to take what I'm giving you and try it, and then tweak it to what works for you. Because we're all different. We all learn different. We all, have a different routine of doing things. But once you get that down and you follow that routine, this becomes, to where you're not thinking about it and you're just thinking how you can be better on each one. So with that being said, I'm going to roll on from here with the time lapse, put some music up for you, and I'll be back at the end. And there you have it, folks. That's that's the gist of everything it takes to, lay out your project, pick your design, and etch it out. So let me know if I'm going too much in depth, if the video is too long, if you want it to be broke up more. These damn flies are gonna drive me nuts because I can't have my fan on. But what are you gonna do? No, but seriously, I'm looking for feedback. This is all new to me. I want you to be able to grasp everything. That way there's less questions. But if it's too long and it's boring, let me know and I'll shorten it up, or I can break it up. So with that being said, next week will be part 3, and we're gonna get into the welding of it. And I'm excited to do this piece, and you know, it's gonna challenge me. I've never done this much detail on such a small piece. So one of y'all are gonna receive this when I'm done. So what I need from y'all is to, you know, like the video, comment, let me know what you think, and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell, that way you get notified if you're not following me on Instagram whenever I upload the next video, because you don't want to miss out. So, alrighty, man. It is freaking hot out here. It's a lot more work than I thought it was going to be, but I'm enjoying doing it, and it's time for me to grab a refreshment. So, God bless, take care.